Now that you've created your InsightMaker account, you can go back to insightmaker.com and log in and tell it to remember you so that in the future when you access your models via their URL, you won't actually have to log in. It's a persistent login that will just go ahead and continue until such time as you explicitly log out. But once you finally finish logging in, you end up in a completely different environment where the first thing that you see is your insights. In other words, this looks a lot like the new insights page, but this will all be blank for you. It's a list. It's a reverse chronological listing of your models that you've built and worked on, so that the most recent ones that you're working on are at the beginning. And since I've been at this for a very long time, I just happen to have an awful lot of them. And these things, the overview video and the links on the right hand side that were on the initial splash page, are also on your landing page once you log in. So once you're here, either you want to access one of the models that you're currently working on, or you want to create a new insight. When you do that, it takes you to the page where you will spend the majority of your time either building or interacting with models. And there is two sets of commands that you can access here, one of them not yet visible, so that what you first get to avoid the blank page syndrome, I mean the worst thing to do that people usually comment about when they start to build models for the first time, is that the blank page just really detracts from one's ability to get started, because I don't know where to start. There isn't anything to work with. So here on this page, it gives you a sort of a guideline for how to build a model in terms of using the drawing tools and the primitives, and then it talks about doing simulation and analyzing, and then ways to share your insights and some examples. And this is actually a running simulation that was coded in here just as an example that's sitting in a folder. Now, after you've looked at this a couple of times and gotten bored with it, what you will do is just click here, which clears the canvas so that you can develop your own model. And the first thing that I advise you do once you get here is to click on Save, which comes up and gives you a place to title your model. And here's where you add the tags. You don't have to add tags, but you can. And then a description. This always works better when I can type well. What's this model about? And then you tell it to save it. And what happens is it then dims the saved, and every time you make a change here in the canvas in terms of working with your model, it will save the changes. So you don't have to worry about explicitly saving it. It saves every time you've made a change, which is really good. Sometimes it forgets. It doesn't realize you've made a change, and if you try to leave this page and it hasn't saved it, it will give you a warning message, so you'll come back and you'll explicitly click on it, but that's fine. So now this page has changed a little bit in that there are some control menus across the top, and then there are the set of menus that you actually use to interact with models. I'm going to in the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about the control menus, and then in the next video I'll talk about an overview of the model development options. The Insight Properties tab, everything opens in a light box so you don't lose the context of the model that you're working on. You can create either public or private models. So if you click here, you can go ahead and make the model private, or you can click here to make it public. We really recommend that you leave them public so that other people can access them and learn from them. If you're creating something that has intellectual property in it that you don't want others to see, you can actually make the model private so that it will never show up in a search results, and other people will only be able to access it if you explicitly give them access to it. So here you can go ahead and identify a user and give them access, or you can identify a user and give them ability to update the model. So I said that it's a multi-user environment. You can give other people the ability to actually go in and work with the model and edit it so that a group of people can work together on the development of a model. You just need to establish a convention as to how you leave notes for each other as to what's been done so that you're not running over each other all the time. And once you do that, simply go ahead and submit it. So that's, and if you just click any place outside of the light box, it goes away. You can click this to delete an insight, but it gives you, do you really want to do that so there's doesn't happen. How did I end up here? Then, let me get back to my test model, and I'll explain this to you in a minute. So it took me someplace that I really didn't want to go. So I went over here and clicked and went back to look at all of my models, and this is the one that I had most recently created. So I opened it, and notice now that it has a number on it. It's number 20,992. So just click on delete if you really want to delete an insight. Make a new insight is if you're working on a model and you're done with it and you want to go right from there to create a new one, you can click here and it will do that. Clone insight. Any model that you find in Insight Maker, you can go ahead and create a clone of it that belongs to you. If you're accessing a model developed by someone else, you don't see all of these options to interact with the model. If it's a simulation, you can run the simulation and change parameters. If it's just a qualitative model, you can look at the connections, you can look at the notes that they have affixed to the various pieces, but it doesn't give you all these options for changing the model. Though any model that you can see, you can click on Clone Insight, and if you can then go ahead and say yes, and it will create a version of that model that belongs to you that you can then edit and do anything you want to with it, just as though you had created it from scratch. And that's one of the real intents behind Insight Maker, is to be able to, for other people to learn from each other's models readily, so that if I create something and I want to share it specifically with other people, all I have to do is send them this URL. They can then take that URL and open the model and look at it, and if I haven't given them access to edit it, they can then go ahead and simply clone it, make a copy of it belongs to them, and do whatever they want to with it. And oftentimes that's what happens. Somebody will get a model from someone else, and they'll say, well, really think that maybe it would be better if it did this, 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 and this. So rather than send them a whole bunch of notes, they'll clone the model, make a bunch of changes to it, and send the new URL back to the originator and say, what do you think of this set of enhancements to the model? It makes it very easy to continue to evolve thoughts without writing, pages and pages of text. You can actually develop the models so people can get a picture of the relationships. And the last one is find more insights, which is the same find insights that was in the previous video on the main landing page. And this little arrow over here opens and closes the top bar, the toolbar for models. Sometimes when I want to present a model, I close this because I don't want that part to see as I'm providing an explanation of the model. So that's an overview, quick overview of this environment that you end up in when you tell it to create a new model. And in the next video, I'll go ahead and talk about the various menus that are there to to work with the model itself as you're developing it. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.